Garrett Cole's got a tummy ache. Is that what I'm hearing?
We're not gonna lead off with that. That's not what we're gonna. We're not gonna lead off with that.
I saw multiple Yankee fans. Well, hold on. I saw multiple Yankee fans being like, he got poisoned in Boston. They wanted to take him out. If there's a player, I could think less that we would want poisoned. I don't in any sport. In any sport, I think that's the guy we'd love to see the healthiest. I don't think there's anyone behind him in line for the poison in Boston.
I don't. Garrett Cole did have a stomach bug. Where it came from, I don't know. They started somebody. Will Warren to be specific. They started Will Warren. They won the game. I don't really care about Garrett Cole's stomach, to be honest with you. He didn't start. He got some rest. Great. Well, get him next time, Garrett. Whatever you ate, try not to do it again. That's all I got. That's all I got, bro. I don't know.
He was just sick to his stomach watching Jazz Chisholm have fun on the Yankees. Is that it?
Oh boy, listen, the discourse is everything you thought it was going to be. And it's like, you guys are so close to just saying what you really want to say. And it's just like, you can just go ahead and do it. You go ahead and just and spare us the beat around the bush nonsense and George would have never put up with this, da 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 da. And you could just say what you want to say and just call it a day. You can.
George Steinbrenner famously hated Deion Sanders, right?
Famously. Yeah, and I've seen, and granted, yes, I probably should just not ever scroll the For You page like that. This is my own fault for seeing this. So like, I'm not trying to blame nobody. I'm not trying to be mad that I'm seeing it. Like, this is my fault. I take full culpability for my own actions here in seeing this shit because it's my fault. Now, with that said, it's really insane how people are acting because he showed up in the dugout with a backwards hat. Like, I don't why are we supposed to care about genuinely asking? It's before the game. The man turned the fucking hat around like 2 minutes later. Who cares? At least with the belt, that shit looks trash. At least I can say, like, I can look at it, it's like, yeah, that looks bad. All right. But also I realize I guess the most boomer take I have as far as sports goes is like the uniforms are better when they matched. I guess that's the most boomer take I have. Like, I don't really bang with like Jason Tatum wearing red shoes. I'm not with it. Like, I'm not like going out there like, oh well, fuck this guy. I just look at it like, it looked better when they were just wearing white and green, bro. It looked better.
I don't know if you had to use him as the example.
I feel like we drive the point home.
Jazz has on like purple, and with the Yankees, like, you guys are colorless. Like, it is what it is.
Except they like fucking teal for some reason. I don't know why.
Who?
Like
the whole team?
Not the whole, like 3 of them. It's like Judge Verdugo, and I feel like I'm leaving somebody else out.
Verdugo wears what, like the Tiffany Jordan cleats?
You tell me.
I'm saying it's like that Tiffany blue.
Yeah. But yes,
that's what I mean.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Colors that. Yeah. And then like Judge has the fucking teal elbow guard and the teal shin guard. So I don't. Whatever, they like that shit apparently. But yeah, Jazz is out there with the Barney color shoes on. It's like, okay, that's cool. As long as you hit like this, I don't really care.
I was gonna say he's got 9 colors on. It's the neon belt, it's the purple sleeve,
and I really appreciate how much it pisses people off. Like,
sounds like it pisses you off based on what he just said.
I have a preference. That's all. I have a preference. I'm not walking around mad that he's wearing a bad belt, but I will admit that the belt looks bad. Like the shoes, I don't really. The shoes, whatever. The belt is.
I think the belt would be fine if it matched all the other accessories.
Fair.
Because again, you guys don't have.
Fair.
Like, it's such a deep navy, it looks black. Like the Yankee navy is so dark.
Yes.
And then like there's not even like a white trim on at least the road jersey. It's just navy on gray.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And then
the road jerseys are so boring, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, the home jerseys, they're iconic. I'm not trying to shit on them.
Right, but the road jerseys are boring.
Stupid argument. But even the home jerseys, like, there's no color. You know what I mean? There's pinstripes. That's what you know.
It works because it works, but it ain't
right. Like, no, it definitely works.
Yeah.
for sure works, but you really could wear anything with them. I just think the anything needs to match.
Fair.
That's my point. Like, if you're gonna wear all red, go all red. Like with the cleats and the fucking oven mitt and all of that, go all red. But yeah, when like the basketball stuff doesn't bother me as much because everything else matches, and then it's just like a random splash on the feet. It's wild, like how illegal it used to be to do that. Like,
no, that true. Like, as much as like I don't care for it, I'm glad they could do it because it never made sense that they couldn't. Like, I don't know. Like, if I want to wear blue shoes, I should be able to wear blue shoes. Who cares? Like, what is the big deal?
And I mean, the NFL is the worst about it. We just never hear about it.
Like, oh my god, they're so bad.
I know.
They actively find people over this shit, like
constantly, every week,
a year, constantly.
No, it's every week.
Every week, yes.
Arian Foster said that he used to wear his socks low, and so he would just get banged out every week for like 10K or something. Like, it doesn't make headlines. It's not like ESPN bottom line. It's just you come back and get the letter on your seat. Like, yeah, we took this much out of your check because of socks. Uniform violation.
That's crazy. That's some fucking socks, bro. That's crazy, bro.
The only time we ever hear about it is when like people in like an organization have like died or something, so they've put a sticker on the helmet, but it didn't get like cleared by the league. so yeah, you all get fined, like the whole team fined. Like, it's like, good job, Goodell. This is really handling
really attacking the hard-hitting issues here. Like, you know, a sticker on the helmet that was not cleared because they were memorializing somebody who died. Yeah, you did a great job here, Raj. Great job.
The whole like slippery slope argument too is like, well, if we let this one slide, everyone's going to start doing it. David Ortiz went on TV and just started swearing left and right, and the FCC was like, we're going to let him have this one. It hasn't happened since, not once, not once, but 11 years hasn't happened since.
I love how they just think everybody is like children. Like, remember, like we would grow up and it would be like, oh, you know, let's say I want to stay out an hour later. Why? Oh, your friends, my friends want to. If your friends want to jump off a bridge with you, what the fuck kind of question is that? Like, what kind of question is that? I simply asked if I can stay out a little bit later. How do we leap from there to if your friends want to jump off a bridge? Yeah. Like, I don't understand. It makes no sense to me. But yeah, that's what they're doing. Yes.
This will shock you, but anytime I was asked that question, I would just be like, I've walked over a lot of low bridges. Like, I could for sure survive plenty of bridge jumpings. So can you paint a clearer picture? And then I'd get hit, and that's how that would go.
Listen, none of this surprises me. And like the one moment that we hung out once, and I watched you sass a cop in the middle of the train station for like a good 10 minutes. I'm sitting like, I could never do that. Anyway, carry on.
I mean, I put him in a box. That's it.
I'm not disputing that. Like, you're not going to be side with a cop. I'm not disputing that you put him in a fucking box, but it took like 10 minutes to put him in a box. And I'm just sitting there like, what is going on? Can we go home, bro? Like, what is this?
I was ready to leave. He kept wanting to get further and further into the box. That wasn't my fault.
Fair. I mean, cops typically don't know how to take their L's. Fair.
No, they don't. But again, as a new white, you should learn. It can happen. It can happen. Listen,
I need to see other people try that first before I start trying some shit like that.
Yeah, that's not what you would be first in line for.
I'm
let
not
your friends jump off the bridge first.
Right. Right. I'll let y'all do it. I'll join later.
I'll be like 300,000, and then I'll try my luck then. Once I see it work consecutively, 299,000.
Like, bad people got like half the world got to do it, and then I'll try.
Yeah. But if I grow a wild hair up my ass, I'll give it a go. What did you think overall of the Yankees trade deadline? Because everything that I didn't want to happen, not in terms of the trade, but in terms of how the Red Sox went about shitting on themselves to lose that series to the Yankees. Mm-hmm. Everything since then has been true. The Yankees are playing with supreme confidence. They just swept the Phillies. I think if the Red Sox win that Saturday game, the Yankees, even with the Jazz trade, are kind of where they were before. I definitely don't think you sweep the Phillies.
As far as the deadline, I thought it was a tad underwhelming. Like, it was not a bad deadline by any means, and like, we'll touch on Flaherty and the whole back and forth situation soon. But I thought it was a B- ish kind of deadline. Like they addressed needs. I feel like the people who are acting like they didn't are insane. Like again, you guys watched DJ LeMahieu play third this whole year, right? Like y'all watched that, right? Y'all been begging for, me included, swing and miss kind of relievers the whole time. They got 2 of them. I know one of them is good. The De Los Santos fellow. Matt Blake, go ahead, bro. I don't know anything about him. I'm not going to pretend like I know. But he strikes out like 13 per 9. So do with that information whatever you will. And as far as what you said about that win, it was definitely important. Baseball's stupid like that, so I can't really be like, oh, it's a turning point of the season. It's a turning point for now. Like next week,
they haven't lost since
again, right? But next week the Yankees might stink again. Like we've seen, you know what I mean? So like, but even, it was definitely important though, because at some point enough is enough, and it got to stop. Like as far as the litany of ways the Yankees have been finding to lose, and the Red Sox are a good opponent. They're on the road. It's a rivalry game. It's an important win for sure.
And it's like 2 of the Phillies games were close, right?
Yes.
Yeah, even if you take 2, like there's just no way you win both of those close games without being emboldened, especially after you lost in such a horrifying manner Friday night against the Red Sox. To pretty much have that game play out the same Saturday, it was just like, okay, you're certainly not going to win this one. And then Zach Kelly was like, I promise you guys are going to win this one. Like, I promise the Yankees have this one in the bag. I'm just going to throw it as down the middle as one can to Aaron Judge. I want to see how far he can hit a baseball. Last night was pretty far. Let's see him do it again. So that was fucking infuriating. And then Sunday was never a contest. It was just, well, I guess it was kind of early. And
yeah,
then
it was kind of bad.
But it was like by the 4th, it wasn't.
4-2, and then it never really felt like once Devers got stranded on third after his triple, it never felt like the Red Sox were going to get their way back into the game.
Right. So, went back to back and then a triple to follow that up.
And then that
nothing.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, like that was the game we were streaming. And I think Jared was like, we had fun for 3 minutes tonight. Like, legit. Even the Yankees, what was the final on that?
I want to say it was like 7-3, 7-2, one of them.
7-3, yeah.
Something like
that. It was just like an overall boring game, too. Like everything, like the Yankees weren't Friday, the Yankees. Like it wasn't Judge hitting 470 or whatever the fuck. It was just like, the Yankees just kind of won this game.
Yeah, it was very businessman like. It was just all right. We're gonna go in there. We're gonna take care of business. We're gonna go home. It doesn't really. There was no sizzle to it. I'll take all of those. Thank you. And I'll take that one especially because I could come on here and have a peaceful existence for an hour and 10 minutes or whatever it is that we record for. So thank you.
I mean, I was particularly angry at the Red Sox on Saturday because how Friday went, it was just like, man, it felt like a couple of guys just stopped playing once it was so back and forth, and then late when the Red Sox finally had
couple of guys. That's what we're going with.
I mean, Judge specifically quit.
Bro, listen.
He absolutely quit.
Listen, I don't like to throw around words like that all crazy because I ain't in these dudes' brains. I ain't in the locker room. I don't know. I don't know how one could argue that he didn't. Genuinely. And I'm the guy. I don't know how, because, I mean, what part of that makes any sense? Just objectively looking at, like, you're down by, what was it, 3? They were down by 2.
It was only 2. That's why it was crazy.
They were down by 2 at that point. He throws you the same pitch. It's not like Kenley came. It's not like it was another pitch. He came out with like a curveball, and then someone. Kenley was like, all right, man, here, do something. And he looked at all if he swung and missed, fine, that happened.
Right? Yeah, absolutely.
You looked at all 3 of them. You gave up, dog. There's no other way to put it. Like what else could it have been? You looked at
it just
3
doesn't.
fastballs. 3 straight.
It just doesn't matter because of everything that happened Saturday.
Oh yeah, for sure. We'd be talking about it way differently if Saturday the Trent Grisham's ball gets caught, which it should have been.
Our pop fly, yeah.
Yeah, it should have been. Like, I saw it going there, and I'm like, oh fuck. And then I saw Tyler look like he was stumbling and bumbling at the wall. I'm like, is that gonna fall in? And then it fell in. It was great. But yeah, like the Judge at bat Friday is such a distant memory because the Yankees haven't lost a game since.
Right. That's what I mean. That's why it's like I don't even if they lose Saturday, what are we? We're 15 minutes in. I'd just be wrapping up the 15th minute of asking why he quit. Like that's.
Oh yeah,
if they drop those two.
I mean, you're bold of you to might have showed up. Bold of you.
Well, yeah, it depends what happens. Depends what happens with the Phillies series,
bold
I guess. But
to assume I would have showed up for that shit.
But even like right now, losing that series, the Red Sox are now in a place where, yeah, it's the wild card. If they win that series, I'm not even saying sweep. If they just take 2 out of 3, the top of the AL East is still neck and neck as it had been. Now there's some distance between you guys, Baltimore, and us. Obviously, it's not early June distance, but enough distance where I'm looking at the wild card instead of the division, as I was fucking a week ago, which is infuriating.
Also, shout out to the person in the comment section who after Friday's game commented, I wonder how Kev enjoyed it. Didn't enjoy it very much. I've enjoyed the last week though.
Thanks I mean, you should. That's exactly what I said before the series. I was like, you have a chance here to like kind of decimate the Yankees. I do believe that they've been in such a rut, and that's not even a Yankee thing. That's a baseball thing. They've been in such a rut. They lose another series. That would have made them 6-3 against the Red Sox, assuming they took 2 out of 3. Instead, if the Red Sox took 2 out of 3, instead the Yankees took 2 out of 3. Now it's 5-4 on the season. Like it's hard to be like, oh yeah, we owned them. It's like no, they're pretty evenly matched. And if anything, they lost 2 games in the same manner. Alex Verdugo misplayed a pop fly, and Tyler O'Neill misplayed a pop fly.
Brother, and then Clay Holmes blew. Through 72 straight sinkers to Yoshida that one time,
right? Yeah.
It's a lot going on.
Yeah, so it was just such a drastic swing, I think, for both teams. You gave the Yankees a B- for their trade deadline. For the Red Sox, I think it's a C-. Like I think they overpaid for Lucas Sims. I don't care at all.
What did they get for Lucas Sims?
There was only one prospect, which tells me they overpaid. And I heard the Sox prospect guys put it this way, and it makes a lot of sense. Every other trade, especially for relievers, was like 4 to 5 prospects, like from everyone, for the whole league. Right. And it was like the Padres giving up multiple top prospects for a reliever. You know what I mean? So for this to be 1-to-1, and Lucas Sims was like the 7th best reliever to get moved, you know, and like somewhere 5 to 7, somewhere around there, wherever you want to put him, I really don't care. For that guy to go for just one 6'4", 19-year-old pitcher who can throw 100, yeah, that feels like we overpaid there. And it's not even like, oh, I can't wait to see this guy in 4 years at Fenway, because that's such a fucking gap. They still don't even know if he's a starter. He might just be a closer or an 8th inning guy. I'm not upset about that. What I'm upset about is if he just pitched the rest of the year as he had, now I think he could be like your number 2 piece in a larger deal. If you're going to trade from one of the top 5, now he could be that next guy because of his age and what he's done. That's not even like, oh, if he improved. No, if he just continued pitching as he's been pitching, now I think you're talking about a top 20 guy that could be a legitimate piece in a large move. The only move I liked was we got Priester from Pittsburgh. That was the only move I was just like, cool. That doesn't mean I hate the Luis Garcia move, because all 4 of the guys we traded really don't matter in the grand scheme of things. No disrespect to those guys. They just probably were never going to play for the Red Sox. A lot of Rule 5 guys in that trade. Right. And even the Danny Jansen trade, when you look at the Danny Jansen trade, I'm not upset we got Danny Jansen by any stretch of the imagination. That package wasn't super dissimilar to what the Dodgers gave up for Jack Flaherty. You know what I mean? It's just like, and I understand the Dodgers or the Tigers seemingly had a deal for Jack Flaherty going to New York, and then New York backed out. So they scrambled and found what they could find, and they didn't find much. So that's where it's just like, I don't know if there was a lot of competition to trade for Danny Jansen. Like, I don't know if that was a hot name on the market. Could you have waited and got him for a similar hodgepodge of prospects? Yeah, probably.
Before I get to Flaherty, the thing about the Sims trade is you mentioned, the archetype of the pitcher, like young, big arm, tall, yada yada. Okay, so my thing is like you're trading a guy like that, regardless of what he could end up as. Like he obviously has a live fucking arm. Sure. You're trading that for Lucas Sims. For what reason exactly? Like Lucas Sims is not moving the goalpost for you like that.
No, but you saw our bullpen all weekend.
Fair kind of point. Yeah. Every time a new reliever came in again, I'm like, oh, okay, great. Like these guys are fucking food. So like bring all of them in. I don't care. They're all fucking food.
It was like Slayton's on the IL, Chris Martin's on the IL. So we have guys pitching way over their head in situations they should never be in. Like Chase Anderson coming out for the 10th, it was like, oh, we're just punting this game. And he's been DFA'd since then, but it was like, what? I would have preferred Weissert, and Weissert's been awful. Like, it was against the Yankees, so there's extra motivation for him to fucking focus. But B, as much as he stinks, his stuff is filthy. So there are those odd nights where it will work. So that's where it was just like, Chase Anderson's not going to get any outs here. Like, he's runs will score, and not just the one. Like, runs are going to score. So that was just something I was just like, I didn't love that at all. And then, I mean, Chase Anderson DFA'd. He's a free agent now. Weissert's in the minors just to get other guys involved. And then they added 3 relievers, one who's since been DFA'd.
Yeah. And I mean, but on Flaherty, though, like, the thing is, I think one could easily make the argument, and this is where I land, that given the context being that, okay, Dominguez and Jones were not coming off the board, period, right? Like, apparently, if you believe the leak that came out after, those guys were deemed untouchable. So if you believe
crazy for one of them,
agreed. But if you believe that, then obviously the Tigers and Yankees alleged agreement featured other people.
Sure.
Fair conclusion to draw, right? 2 + 2 is
sure.
He's a rental. If he makes it to the end of the season, which may be a big if, maybe it's not. I don't fucking know. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. If he makes it to the end of the season, I'm sure you're not going to give a fuck about who you gave up. You knew he was a rental, and you knew good and well you're probably not going to re-sign him. And it's probably not going to be anybody who's affecting this year's team anyway, because these are minor leaguers we're talking about. So I think they should have just went ahead and did it, depending on what it is. Obviously, like, don't just give up shit just to give it up. But given what the Dodgers gave up, if you're telling me it's a similar package from the Yankees end, yeah, I think they should have did it anyway. Now,
right.
To be fair, I think the people bashing Cashman for it, I saw how y'all tweeted about Frankie Montas. I saw it. I saw it. And y'all bitched and moaned, not unreasonably, by the way, because he was hurt at the time of the trade. Either you want these dudes to learn from their mistakes or you don't. I personally would have made the same mistake again if it came down to myself. Like, I think the process was fine the first time because they didn't pay much for Montas in the first place.
No, they didn't.
And I think the process would have been fine now, except that Jack is not injured now. Like, you're talking about his medicals. Like, he ain't injured now. He's pitching now.
Right.
So, like, if he dies after he dies, fine. But, like, I think they should have went ahead and did it. I can't be mad that they didn't. I'm just a little bit underwhelmed with the deadline. But if Jad's going to do all of this, then, I mean, shit. It's an A+ deadline if you're going to do all of this.
Yeah, if he's an MVP caliber player the rest of the season, unbelievable trade deadline. I think that's fair.
Exactly. But, like, as of now, it's like, all right, they got a pretty good player who they're transitioning to third base, and they got a couple of relievers that they needed.
And I will say, like, I loved Jazz Chisholm his whole career up until a week ago. He was already being a loser, running into people's asses and, like, pretending he died. Like, I've never seen a baseball flop before. That was the first. So that was a wild scene.
I mean, he ran into somebody's elbow. It hurt.
He ran right into his ass. Like, what are we talking about? He ran face to ass.
His elbow's not his ass, bro. He ran into his elbow. It hurt. Okay?
He laid there like he got shot. Like, he absolutely.
An elbow to the face hurts. It's painful.
Spencer Jones is 23, and he's got a 735 OPS in AA. I would have traded him absolutely this deadline for anything.
If we would have got the notification that they traded him for Jack Flaherty, I'd have been like, okay, cool. Let's do it. You know what I mean? It's like I think that Spencer Jones can be what the Yankees think he could be. the likelihood of that happening is low. So like I don't like low probability stuff on a win now team in a year where you have Juan Soto on your fucking team and you don't know if he's going to resign. Like I would have sent Spencer Jones packing for any starting pitcher reasonable if that was in the calling, in the working. But at the same time, like how many really good starting pitchers moved anyway? Like it was Flaherty and who else?
I mean Paxton is no.
Yeah, it's not 2019. Yes.
I know like Tampa moved pitchers. Good isn't necessarily the word I rush for when I
Eflin's fine. Eflin's fine.
Right,
I give him that. Eflin's fine. He's fine. But like outside of that, like no real good starting pitchers moved.
No, it's mostly relievers.
Right.
I mean, the Marlins traded. There's too many Rogers in the league right now.
Yeah, Rogers. Yes, they traded him to the.
Yeah, there's too many T Rogers in the league. I get all of them confused.
So fucking many of them. So Trevor,
and they're all
Taylor,
they all kind of stink. Like they all like the relievers. The giant relievers is I think the best one, and his brother is a little worse. Like I don't fucking care.
It's not like there's no real differentiation between the names either. It's like Taylor, Trevor, Tyler, like they all sound the fucking same, man.
Yeah, Tim is fucking annoying. Yeah, I don't. Would you have traded Rice for him?
No, because then who's gonna play first?
I mean, I know who it won't be, and that's Gleyber. I'm a second baseman, Torres.
Thank you for segueing to that. That's perfect. Good job. Listen, I understand how funny that looks, given how much he has struggled at second base this year. I'm not immune to multiple things being true at the same time. All right, I understand that. Now,
I mean, he had that quote maybe 20 minutes after he dropped a routine ground ball. Like it was very funny.
No, it was. It was objective. It was objectively funny for that for that reason. Now, if one wants to look at it and just laugh at him, understood. Hell, I laughed too. Understood. Now, the whole try to make Gleyber into a bad teammate because of this is insane.
I mean, that's obviously where it was going to go.
For they hate the guy, of course. But here's the thing. And first of all, can we stop this lie? Just in general, like, can we just stop this lie? The lie being, I just want to hear the truth. I just want you to be honest with me. No, you don't. A lot of people don't want honesty. You don't really want people to tell you the fucking truth about yourself, about shit surrounding you, whatever it is. You don't. Gleyber told the fucking truth. And guess what? We already had it on file. Gleyber moving positions and sucking ass afterwards. We have this on record. So like him being an impending free agent on a team with win now aspirations, and on top of that, in a vacuum, there isn't a single person who would disagree with him. Like that's the funniest part about this. Nobody else wants Gleyber to play third. He says, "I ain't playing third." Well, fuck this guy. You don't want him to play third either. So what are we really talking about here? You don't want to hear the truth. He told you the truth.
It'd be much worse with him at third. Much worse.
Right. Listen, man. Gleyber's carrying tool has been his bat. It will likely always be his bat. Even this year, when he's objectively been below average, he's been considerably better since like the middle of May. Like his April was so bad that it drags everything down.
Sure.
He's been fine since like the middle of May. His bat is his carrying tool. That isn't me saying you can't be frustrated at his defense, because the things with Gleyber, like he just fucks up all the easy shit. Like the hard stuff is, I'm not saying he's not Ellie De La Cruz, where like Ellie makes he makes the hardest plays on a daily basis and fucks up all the easy ones. The hard ones are still a 50-50 proposition, but the easy ones are like, oh God, here we go again. Every time an easy ground balls hit the Gleyber, it's like, oh fuck, here we go. So like I don't know what they expected him to say. I'm a second baseman. Would it have been nice if he said, I'd be willing to do whatever for the team? I guess. He didn't refuse. He just said, I'm a second baseman. If they told him, get your ass a fucking third baseman, first of all, the Yankees would have been crazy for that. But I'm sure he would have just did it. Like, all right, what say do I have here? I'm gonna tell him no. Like, no, he just said, my opinion is I'm a second baseman. You want him to change to fucking third midstream, mid-season in a win now year when he's an impending free agent? That's insane practice to me.
That's really what it is too. Like he's about to be a free agent, and so many teams already view him as kind of like a DH only. he's got to be. He has to stand his ground. It's weird. I pull up his splits because I know how bad he started.
Yep.
But even just like the last 28 days, he's got a 752 OPS, which is probably like this year's league average. So he's been average, but for the season, it's 663.
Right.
Because it was like at 400 for the first month of the season.
Yes. It was so bad. Yes.
On the road, he's got a 7 for the year. He's got a 709 OPS. At home, it's a 599. Like he does not want to be there in general.
Yeah, he does not want to hit in front of the lovely Yankee Stadium faithful.
Not a little bit. What was his best month? May, he had a 744 OPS. July, 705. April, March, it was a 550. And in June, it was a 689, which is still bad.
Yeah, man, he's been fine, like for a decent sample size now. So I don't. His baddest is carrying to him, man, and he's gonna be out of your hair in like 4 months. Like this not gonna last much longer. Like he's a free agent. I can't see them bringing him back. I think there's a reason they traded for Jazz outside of the fact that he helps this year's team. He's the second baseman who's going to take over next year, one would assume, unless he just smashes at third. Maybe he does that, and they're like, all right. I don't know what plan B would be here at second base, but maybe he smashed it there and just, all right, we'll just leave him there. I don't know.
I mean, he was like not a great second baseman either.
We're talking about Jazz?
Yeah, I think he's a better outfielder.
His last year at second base, he was really good. But I don't overall. I'm not gonna pretend like I know. But I remember reading like his last year, he was like at plus like 6 defensive run saved or something like that. So he was good his last year at second.
Yeah, I mean, he's another guy who was a shortstop that transitioned to second.
But he was a really good outfielder, though. Like that's
what I mean. I think that's what he's the best at.
He was a really good outfielder. Like he had the struggles the first like couple months on the job, but he's been a really good outfielder for sure.
I don't know that you want Judge to play center much longer.
The Yankees seem content with it. I don't love it. I've also learned to not care. Is one of those like, and I mean, to be fair with the Yankees, they've DH Judge plenty this year. Coinciding with Stanton being out. Yeah, exactly. Coinciding with Stanton being out. So we'll see how they handle that now. But yeah, I don't necessarily want the 300-pound man playing center field every day. No, I don't. No, I don't. But we're gonna see what happens with that.
Yeah, and it's like Jazz at third could be a disaster. At third's not this like easy position. You can just toss somebody, be like, go for it. Like third is very difficult.
It's not, which is again what makes the Glaber conversation outrageous. Like,
correct.
Yeah, he said he doesn't want to try and learn third fucking base in the middle of the season, and we don't want him to play third either. But you know, we're gonna be mad at him for saying what we all think anyway. Like, it's insane, pure insanity.
I'm looking at it. So Everson Pereira was probably one of these trade guys because it doesn't seem like he's ever really going to get a shot with the team. And he's a little older, AAA for 2 years now, 2 straight years in AAA. And he's done well. 921 OPS last year, 858 this year.
I mean, the problem with him is that he has like a 35 hit tool. Yeah, that's the biggest problem. So like they're not gonna get, and I mean obviously the Yankees outfit being what it is also part of this. No shit, duh. But mainly like I think the hit tool, he's just a 4A guy for the Yankees, essentially. So
that's a starter for the Tigers, though. That's what I'm saying.
Maybe he was the one who was gonna go for Flaherty.
That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to piece together. Yeah. I'm trying to piece together what would have been.
Like Oswald, maybe somebody.
Yeah, it's just like, what was the price where they couldn't risk a back injury?
Shit, any of them could have gone, bro. Like, fine, you don't want to give up Spencer? Okay, cool, I get you. You obviously you're not giving up Dominguez. The rest of them, send all of them. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck them kids, man. I don't give a fuck about none of them. Like, send all of them. But like, like 1 or 2 of them should have been fine, in my opinion. But
I'm interested to see, like the draft obviously just happened. I'm interested to see MLB Pipeline's updates because I if Spencer Jones is still 2 after the update, this farm system's cheeks. That's all it tells me. Like, it's Dominguez and nobody if he's still 2.
Well, I mean, I think quite a few of the Yankee intriguing prospects are a little bit further away.
Yeah, I mean,
Spencer Jones is so like
Roderick Arias. You guys just signed, right?
Right.
2 years ago.
Yeah, I think he's 18. So yeah, he's
like
George Lombard. They just drafted so and so. But I mean, what your point is not necessarily untrue in the fact that their farm system is kind of leaking because they traded quite a bit from it. So like
sure,
and they just traded their second best prospect last week, which and this idea that Brian Cashman prospect hugs is so stupid. By the way, listen, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like he has never done it. That's not true. He has hugged the wrong guys. We watched the Clint Frazier era. Now, Clint, I thought that process was sound. The Andujar thing, you know how I feel about that. I thought that was stupid. That man was the worst defensive player walking earth, and he came off a fluke ass year. You should have traded him. But I digress. The Yankees are near the top of the league in the last like 5-6 years as far in terms of how many prospects they've traded. And then they're like, well, how come they don't trade their top prospects? You said they didn't trade prospects enough. Now you're saying why don't they trade their best prospects? And what's even funnier about that is you look at the team now. Part of the reason for their recent turnaround is their shortstop, who since the assassination, since the All-Star break, he's been great. And Austin Wells has been arguably the league's best catcher for the last like 2 months. Like, I'm not exaggerating. Numbers say
he's been good.
Yeah, he's been amazing the last like 2 months. So like, if you had your way, they would have traded those people. And they're part of the reason the Yankees have been as good as they've been for the last week. And Wells is part of the reason that anybody besides the 2 main dudes have done anything for like the last 2 months. So I don't know. It just seems like people want to complain. But what do I know?
I've got to give credit where it's due too. Since I want to say it was like the middle of May when he was one of the worst pitchers in baseball. Michael King's rocking 3.26. What's the ERA plus? 125 ERA plus. So he's for sure turned it around, and the Padres continue to just do insane things. Anytime they're permitted to, they do that immediately. And what's more insane, their farm system still is better than a lot of other people's.
Yeah, they trade from that shit non-fucking stop. And their farm system is still like it's probably like slightly below average these days. But it's like anybody else who does that, like their shit would be in the pits. So like shout out to them for developing talent and all of that, because they've managed to trade roughly 8,000 prospects in 3 years, and they're still holding on. They're still fine as far as their prospects.
I don't know if I can call a system below average when it's got like 2 top 25 guys in it.
Who are the top 25 guys?
Salas and DeVries.
I think we're getting a little bit aggressive on DeVries, but I like him a lot. So I think he'll be there in time.
I'm pretty sure Keith Law already has him there.
Keith Law's an insane person. He's an insane person.
I know he's putting in the work, and I know
he's an insane
DeVries.
Person. But DeVries is nice though.
Yeah, I mean he's 17.
Yeah,
let me make sure I got that right. Yeah, still 17. He was the number 1 international prospect, or international signee available last winter. They got him, and he's just been a monster. Like, he's been tearing up whatever division they put in front of him. He's got an 807 OPS, and he's 17. He's playing for the Lake Elsinore Storm. Like, that's absurd. And Ethan Salas is 18, and I know he's a top 10 guy.
Yeah, man. But they do have those 2 dudes. Everybody after them, like they traded a lot of them. So like it's still, I think those 2 dudes being as good as they are, even if I think we're putting the cart before the horse with DeVries a little bit, I think those 2 dudes being as high upside as they are is what makes that, an average-ish system instead of a bad one. Because they've traded a lot from it. So,
no, they have, and I don't even know if it's jumping the gun. When you're the top international guy, that's typically a good good player. You know what I mean? That's
for sure. But like I would put him at like 50 instead of 25 already. Like
yeah, I mean it's one of those things.
It's squabbling over some shit that's probably a foregone conclusion because guys like that don't come up and do shit like that and then stink. That just typically doesn't happen. So like this time fucking in 3 months he might be a top 25 prospect. Well, we know. So
and whatever model you're plugging him into, the fact that he's doing it at 17 is going to have him over any 21-year-old doing the same thing.
Oh, for sure.
And it
he's
should.
Doing this at what, A+ or A?
He's still just at A now.
He's at A, okay. Because I know the Padres. I have to ask that because the Padres are super aggressive with how they promote. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, he probably won't be there. Like he probably won't finish the year there. Like
he's not. Oh, he's absolutely not. Padres have no time for slow playing prospects. They're just not going to do that.
No, and it's like even like they traded Adam Mazur, which I have no idea if I'm even saying it right, but he stinks. Like that was a fine. He was like their number 3 prospect. He pitched for them this year. No strikeout. No, he doesn't miss bats at all. Like yeah, see you later. Like that's good luck in Miami.
Who did they trade? Lesko? Oh yeah, Jason Adams. That's what they traded.
Like
that was surprising.
Snelling, right?
They traded Snelling for Scott.
Okay.
They traded Snelling in a Scott trade. They traded Lesko for Adam.
It was Lesko and someone else for Adam, though.
Yes, it was
just a one.
And it was like 17 prospects for Tanner Scott. So yeah,
right. Yeah,
there's a lot of prospects for Tanner Scott, man.
I didn't even mind it if you know, like, hey, we just don't like these guys, and of course,
for sure.
Some of them to Tampa, and I'm sure Tampa will figure it out. Like Morel homered immediately the second he got there. He was like, "Watch this."
Back-to-back games too.
Oh, was it? I didn't even see the second one.
Yep,
so
yeah, back-to-back games. I thought that was an interesting trade.
Morel. I don't hate the Cubs kind of having their off season now. You know what I mean? They're like,
I thought that's what made it interesting. They're just like, all right, why wait? Why wait till December? We can do some stuff for our off season now. I think the Paredes fly ball stuff. You're aware of how extreme pull he is and blah blah blah, and his savant page isn't exactly the world's best thing. And people are like, well, it doesn't play as well in Chicago as it does in Tampa, which probably true. Like I'm not here to argue. And hell, Tampa traded him, so you're probably going to forget how to play baseball. Understood.
He was bad with the Tigers.
Understood. Right. Exactly. So I understand all of that. I still think it's a little bit overblown because, well, number one, like Wrigley plays up in the summer, especially anyway, when the wind's blowing out, number one. And number two, pulling fly balls is always an optimal strategy regardless. So, yeah, he might lose a couple home runs. I think he's still going to be productive in Chicago. And, when he has a 200 OPS by the time the season ends, you guys could all circle back and duck on me for it.
I mean, he did hit one. It was either yesterday or the day before where it was an out down the line that would have been gone in Tampa.
He's going to lose. He's going to lose a few. He's absolutely
immediate.
He's going to lose a few.
Yeah, but I didn't hate the swing there. It was just, I remember we talked about it over the winter. Like Morel was like, you can't trade. If you do trade, it needs to be for one of the top guys in the league. And then you see what these guys go for. I almost think fans have overcorrected. They're like, oh, you think the team will take this shit package? And they usually do. They usually don't get good value for these guys. People typically play the markets poorly.
And on top of that, the man doesn't have a position really.
Oh, I'm speaking in general. Like teams more often than not will take like 4 mediocre prospects for like a decent player. Now, like Chris Sale did not get traded for mediocre prospects. Kopech, who's now a Dodger, and Moncada, I believe, was the number 1 overall prospect in baseball when that trade happened. Like that wasn't a lot, but I even remember because Chris Sale to the Red Sox had legs for a while. Like that was a year and a half in the making. When that trade talk started, it was like Moncada plus Benintendi, who, think of whatever you want of him now. He was like a Golden Spikes winner who sprinted through the minors. So it was like them two plus Kopech plus another thing. And then just taking Benintendi out of it, especially then, 2 years before they end up winning the World Series and Benintendi being a big part of that, it's less. No matter how you want to slice it, it is less.
The trade market is just never as predictable as we want to make it out to be. because sometimes teams are really stupid and there's some other teams are really smart, and sometimes it's a case by case, and like other contexts might lead to this, that, and the third. Like, I mean, the Soto thing, like we went back and forth about that this offseason, and I was like, it's not going to cost you as much as you think. Not because I'm some fucking genius with good foresight. It's because the Yankees were the only fucking people in the bar with the Padres. Like, they were the only people there, and they were just like, all right, you want them? Okay, just give us this. And that's how it happened. Again, I'll say it for the 17th time on this program. It's embarrassing that Juan Soto had one fucking suitor, but he did. So, like,
real bad.
He did. And I mean, the same Juan Soto went for a hell of a package from the Nationals, whatever it was. I mean, from the Padres, rather, whatever it was, a year and a half prior, because you had 2.5 years of control. So it changed, the context changed. So that's the market change. So it's never, and in most cases, it's fans like, we need prospect number 1, 2, 6, 8, 10, 12. Like, that's likely not how this is going to work, unless your team takes somebody to the cleaners, which, I mean, that happens from time to time.
For sure it does. Yeah, teams will overpay. I mean, you even think of like the Luis Castillo trade. People were shocked that they gave up Noelvi Marte, and then he gets popped a year and a half later for performance-enhancing drugs.
Evan Arroyo, and there was somebody.
Yeah,
it was a healthy prospect package, though. Yes,
right. So it's very case by case. I mean, I think if the Tigers sold Flaherty 2 days earlier, I guarantee they get more. Absolutely, they get more.
Most likely. I mean, Trevor Rogers went for a really good prospect. I can't remember who the second one was, but I know Connor Normie was in it. Oh yeah, Stowers. So like two okayish, above average type of prospects, and that's Trevor Rogers, who is not very good. I'm sure you trade Flaherty a week before, you're probably getting more than what you ended up getting, unless of course the medicals ended up being some widely known thing, and then hey, who knows? But I do think that package wasn't as bad as people like to make it out to be. But also, I like Lorenzo a lot, so maybe I'm alone there. That's fine.
It would have been very funny. I think the Orioles were like, we would love to trade for Jack Flaherty, but we just can't after how badly last year went. Like, we can't. We're never trusting that guy again. We won't do it. We're not following.
And I mean, I can't really fault them for it. Like, you don't want to run this. Like, if you run a fucking draw play and it gets you -8, like, yeah, you're gonna think the next time you think about the draw, I don't know if I want to do that again.
I mean, we traded back for Paxton, and it looked like they were at least thinking about trading back for Turner, and it was just like, I just don't know like how inspiring that is for the, like, is that a buy? Bring back 2 guys from last year's shitty team? Is that buying? I don't think that it is. Like, this team's better than last year's team. Justin Turner, he's old. Like, it's not his fault. Like, prime Justin Turner, yeah, I would have been all in on that. Even 3 years ago, Justin Turner would have loved that. He's 2 home runs. You know what I mean? Like, the power is not there. I'm all set. Like, that's not for me right now. And Paxton, people were furious at me. I think it was the first move we made. People were furious at me because I was just like, I don't love what we shipped out. And people were like, you don't even know who this person is. And I was just like, no, I've never met them. That's true. But we gave up a lottery ticket. And I feel like people just don't know what a lottery ticket is. Like, more often than not, a lottery ticket is nothing. Absolutely nothing. Doesn't progress past high A, let alone become a major league player. When they do pass high A, they're Yordan Alvarez. You know what I mean? Like, lottery tickets, when they hit, and you're talking about not a old 17-year-old, someone who turned 17 3 weeks ago, who's hitting in the middle of one of your Dominican lineups. That's just a guy I would have preferred to, like, I would rather not have James Paxton than give up a lottery ticket. And then I had people coming at me from 2 different ways. They were like, this is the same as paying cash. Okay, pay cash then. Do that. How does that sound?
Right.
Or other teams were bidding for Paxton, so you had to give up something. So it's like, which is it? Does this guy suck, or is he outbidding other teams? Like, you can't say both of those things. And
I mean, also, like, you could just not get James Paxton then. It's not like your season's going to change if you don't get James Paxton. Like, we have watched him pitch this year, right? Like, it's not.
Yeah, well, he diced up the Red Sox because anyone with a left hand will. And that, yeah, even Rodon pitched well against the Red Sox, which was disgusting because Rodon's still, what do we have, second and third in the first inning and nothing, no runs. And it's just like sick. This is fun.
Carlos Rodon is the most. I will say this at this point, he is extremely predictable. If Carlos Rodon does not have his command in the first inning, it's going to be a long, short outing for him. And if he does, he should be fine. That's how this goes. The first inning tells you a lot about that dude at this point.
Yeah, we let him off the hook, and it's a lefty heavy lineup, which doesn't bother me. There aren't a ton of lefties out there coming off of the All-Star break. It felt like we were facing one every other day, so that made it tough. I think Paxton had like 24 whiffs in that game, something along those lines, which is dominant for him, like absolutely dominant. Since then, we faced mostly righties and played much better. Who would have thought? So it's one of those things. Could they have used a righty bat that wasn't a backup catcher? Yeah. Did they go target one at all? No. That tells me like they're still going to play Von Grissom down the stretch, which doesn't bother me. But if you're also going to do that, I don't know why Nick Pivetta is still here. Like you saw what pitchers were going for. You probably get a haul for that guy. He was coming off a really good start the day before the deadline. I feel like, not that we're hungry for prospects, but you could have then taken the new guys you don't care about at all and moved them for an upgrade there. That's something I would have done more than Paxton.
Yeah, jokes aside, I'm kind of surprised the Red Sox didn't do more of like the double dip, like buy and then sell too. I'm surprised they didn't do more because it's like, if this was going to be your haul, then you definitely should have moved like Pivetta. There's another one that's coming to mind. I can't. Tyler O'Neill, right. Like, you should have definitely moved, at least with Tyler, like, all right, he's a power hitter in the middle lineup. All right, I get it. But at the same time, like, if you weren't going to add significantly, you should have struck while the iron was hot, in my opinion.
You could have been the team instead of the Cardinals to get Eric Fetty for free because the Dodgers were like, we'll pay for this. Don't worry.
Yo, what the fuck are the White Sox doing, bro? What are you doing? What the fuck are the White Sox? Like, they traded
I don't know.
Fetty, Pham, and there's a third one. Fetty, Pham, and who? Kopech.
Oh, and DeYoung.
And DeYoung, right. Who they get back who? Miguel Vargas?
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Listen, I like the prospect. I understand he was blocked in LA. I understand how that goes. Like we watched Michael Busch get blocked for like 17 years before he got traded. Sure. I understand. I get it. I don't understand why you traded all of that for him though. Now, can that age poorly? Can that take age poorly? Sure. Are the White Sox going to be the one to make it age poorly? I have my doubts. So why did you trade all of that? You traded all of them in one trade, which to me, number one is bad process. Like trading all of them in one package is stupid. Sure. And then you traded all of them in one package for that? Why? I read it, I was like, am I missing something? Like, did Paxton forget like another leg of the trade? Like, am I missing something? What are they doing, bro?
They don't know.
Fucking clearly. Andrew Benintendi, the highest paid player, he got the highest contract in franchise history.
That's not even this GM, at least. That was the last one, but doesn't make it better. I imagine Crochet gets moved in the offseason, which I think is smart by them. I think they'll get more for him. I think they'll have more teams bidding because everyone's starting from zero.
Also, I applaud him for his stance.
That's why. It's why I still don't want him. Like,
I applaud him for him. Like, hey man, listen, my arm might fall off. All we fucking know. You better pay me if you want me to pitch in October. I applaud that shit. Look after yourself, big homie.
Such better ways to say. It's like whoever trades for me, I want to play for the rest of my life. I'd love to sign an extension immediately. Done. Now I don't think he's a pussy when he says it that way.
Fair, fine. Optics are optics.
I won't pitch in the playoffs without money. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I love it. Stick it to them. I love it. Because, listen, they don't give a fuck about you when they take you to arbitration. They're arguing you down every
for
second.
sure.
They don't give a fuck.
But I think anyone trading for him, if they hear he's interested in signing an extension, that's just going to make you want him more.
Sure. That's fair. Like, am I saying that it was the stone cold right way to handle this? I don't know personally. I don't know.
He's still on the White Sox. Obviously, it wasn't that smart of a move.
Like, fair. but he might have still been there anyway. But that's neither here nor there because they don't know what the fuck they are doing. But I don't know how that would have affected him financially going forward. I don't know if that's the right way to go about this. All I'm saying is I respect a baseball player prioritizing number one, even if most others, all others, we could really say, because I've never heard of that before. Like nobody else would handle it in that particular way. Like, hey man, you want me to pitch in the games that matter if you pay me, big dog? I appreciate that.
I think if he had said it any other way, someone would have happily been like, no doubt.
I like honesty. Give me honest.
Yeah, I mean, I think he could have been honest in a way that didn't actively tell.
But that's not honest.
We never.
That's not like.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Saying I want an extension with whoever trades for me makes me feel wanted, and that's who I want to go pitch.
He don't give a fuck about being wanted. You give a fuck about the money. That's not honest.
Sure.
Like, you're not honest about the reason. The reason is I want my security. Fuck you. Like pay me. I want my security. That's honest. Not I'd be proud to wear the jersey of the next team I'm. I'd love an extension. That's not fucking honest.
That's a guy I fear 0% in the playoff game. 0.
I don't even fault you for it. I don't fault you for it at all. I respect it, but I understand why somebody would look at him and like, I don't know, man. That's a little crazy how to go about it. It's different
because that's where the attitude does change tremendously in the playoffs. Yeah, you better want to win for the team you're playing for. It doesn't matter how much you're getting paid. If anything, it's a bad thing if you're getting paid more in the playoffs. Mike Trout gets it held over his head for his 3 playoff games. It's not even his fault. Ken Griffey Jr. gets brought up. You know what I mean? Like A-Rod, it haunted him till 2009.
True. But we'll see if the White Sox trade him. I thought they should have traded him now. I don't know if that complicated things for them. But again, I just watched them give up 4 people for Miguel Vargas. So I'm not here to give them the benefit of the doubt on fucking anything. So I don't know what happened there. Maybe they tried to trade him and they were just like, oh, well, teams were like, oh, I don't know. His quotes put me off. Like, I'm not trying to do that. Maybe that happened. That's very possible. I feel like if it did, we would have heard about it already, though.
No, sure. I just think teams never really engaged. I think they asked a general price, and there's
an innings thing with him, so that's also possible. But go ahead.
Sure, but there's I saw every reporter put every big team in there, and I was like, I know the Red Sox aren't calling about Garrett fucking Crochet. No, they're not. No, they're not. They know what that's going to cost. They know what bad players cost. Players, guys were like, we want Roman Anthony. And Breslow was rightfully like, why don't you go fuck yourself? Where the Red Sox did sell, because they obviously didn't sell Pivetta or any of the 1-year guys, but they did move a ton of Rule 5 guys. And I think that matters because it was just like, now there's no log jam. They can kind of pick, like Nick York you would have had to have Rule 5'd him. And
I feel so bad for him.
I don't, because he's going to get playing time, which is good for him. Like that just wasn't going to come in Boston.
Oh, well, okay, fair. I feel bad for him because he's on one of the worst hitting development teams in baseball. So I feel bad for him for that reason. But yes, he is going to get PT in a way that he damn sure was not in Boston. Like that's true.
It sounds like the Pirates are going to call him up this season, so that's where I'm happy for him because even the Red Sox
he turned it back around. But
AAA was tearing the cover off the ball. AA got 700 largely forgettable at bats, so that's where the Red Sox being able to turn him into a young, controllable arm. I couldn't love that process more. Like it was a 1-for-1. It was essentially prospect for prospect, and you got a guy with pedigree. You got a guy who, if they let him sit in the minors for 21 more days, you get a full extra year of control. So he can still pitch for you this year down the stretch when you're probably going to need a 6-man rotation anyways.
Right.
And he's very adept with spin. It just comes natural to him. Having that guy for Andrew Bailey, I'm all in on Quinn Priester being as of next year, maybe a middle of the rotation arm for you. Will it happen? Not necessarily. He's still a 23-year-old. So many things could go wrong. But I wouldn't be shocked at all if that's oh, that's a legitimate piece. This wasn't this isn't a lottery ticket situation. I think there's not that many steps, not that many hurdles to clear to get him to a place where it's oh yeah, no, this is one of your better starters.
Those trades are so annoying when a team that you hate does them. I hate it so much. I don't like when the teams I hate are smart. I thought that was a smart trade.
We weren't for like the last 9 years, so
I loved it. I enjoyed it. Can we go back to that?
We won 2 rings during that stretch, so I don't know how much you loved it. But
okay, well, besides that, besides the whole, they won 2 championships in that time frame. Besides that part, I enjoyed it. When they traded Mookie Betts, I enjoyed it.
Right, there was no sound process there. None. No, absolutely none.
Yeah, like take our $200 million, Mookie, or whatever the fuck the offer was. Awful. No. Oh, well, see, this guy's tough to negotiate with. Like, motherfucker, this wasn't a negotiation.
No. I think they did offer 3, which is enough to know he's not going to take it and satiate enough of the fan base to be like, that was a fair offer. You needed to take a hometown discount.
Hey, fan brain's a hell of a thing, bro, because fans will eat up whatever slop. They will eat up whatever slop you give them. Hence why they do shit like that. The big market Boston Red Sox with their Hall of Fame outfielder who won a chip with them. 1 chip or 2 chips? It was 1. Right?
1 an MVP.
Right. Won a chip with them, won an MVP with them, an iconic Red Sox player. And they're like, yeah, we made him 1 offer. It was off that. And then people are like, you know what? That makes sense. Excuse me? Excuse me? Like, how does that make sense again? They offered $300 million. He said no. If they were invested in actually keeping him around, you would think that they would continue to negotiate with the guy. He was great then. He's still fucking amazing. And he's under fucking paid if you look at the rest of the league at this point.
Super underpaid.
So
super underpaid.
God bless. I'm glad it happened.
The Red Sox traded from their own system, number 12, 13, 15, 28, 29, 37, 54, and then the Dominican 17-year-old who obviously wasn't ranked. I saw so many people be like, he's not a top 60 guy. He just turned 17. Just turned 17. Why would he? If he was ranked, he would be 1. Like, you wouldn't put that guy 24. That doesn't make any fucking sense. If he was that, he would be number 1 in baseball, not just for the Reds. He'd be number 1.
Legit. Nah, no jokes. He would be.
So, yeah, he wasn't top 6. The amount of people who said that, it was like, I could not care less about the 16-year-old as of a month ago's ranking. Like, Bryce Harper wasn't ranked at 16 either. Like, the fuck are we talking about? But even of the 10 to 20 guys, or the 10 to 30 guys, it's only 1, and that's Portes. Like, that's the only one where I was like, I probably wouldn't have done that. The rest, it's like, yeah, we just had another really strong draft, or projects to be another really strong draft class. We got at least 1 guy sliding into the top 10 immediately, and probably 5th from what it sounds
what's
like.
His name? Montgomery. Right?
Montgomery. Yeah. Braden Montgomery. Who only found the draft.
That sounds like the name of somebody who's going to annoy the Yankees in like 4 years. That sounds like
absolutely. I mean, he would have went at 4 to the A's. I believe they had the 4th pick, maybe 6th. Either way, he was supposed to go there, and they couldn't work out a deal. And he broke his foot in the College World Series, so that was a terrible reason to not draft a guy.
I couldn't agree more. I don't understand what the problem is.
2 years in a row, the Red Sox. The Red Sox just sat and waited, because the baseball draft guys will fall every year. It's not any other type of draft. There's deals being cut. There's high schoolers that sneak up, and it was less of that this year. But 2 guys did do that, and that put them right here. So that was thanks, appreciate it. So he'll slide in right there with Christian Campbell and Miguel Blaze in that top 6, and Kyle Teal. And it sounds like the big 3 are all about to be promoted to Worcester. So I'm kind of hoping we see at least one of them in Boston in September.
I think we will. Probably Teal.
Teal makes the most sense.
That makes the most sense.
Unless Meyer just like obliterates AAA, which certainly possible, but I don't see any reason. I'm not going to say I don't see any reason. I would like to see both of them in September, but I understand why you wouldn't do it with Meyer. Teal, you have no lefty catcher right now, and both your catchers defensively are awful. So that's where we almost need Kyle Teal. We almost need him. I would skip AAA. I know that's not the best way to go about it. I would just be like, you're up. You're here. Well,
and I mean, is the gap between AAA and the majors any any bigger than it is between Double A and the majors. Keep in mind that it's a massive gap, regardless. Is what I'm saying.
Right.
I don't know if it's that much bigger. So it's like, and you're not, and you would not be bringing him up for his offense anyway. So it's like you're bringing him up for his defense. You're in the middle of a playoff race. I think it's a prudent thing if they want to go that route. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I don't know. But
yeah, I mean, I think September it can be another jolt. It can be with just a solid overall move. That's where I'd love to see it. Whether or not it happens, we'll see. But I'm happy with where the farm is right now. I'm happy we won the season series against the Mariners. I'm happy Rafael Devers has weirdly inserted him in the back of the MVP conversation. Like he's top 5 right now. He's not 2, but I think he's around number 5. He's got I think he's on the season. He's approaching 1,000 OPS, which I know means nothing to a guy who watches Soto and Judge. But
listen, it means something to me because I hate it because the Yankees don't know what it means to just walk Rafael Devers.
No, neither do the Mariners. What a morons, dude. Guy.
I saw. I don't know if I think you quote tweeted somebody about it. What happened? I didn't see it. I know you walked
the first guy up in extras, and so first base is open.
Stop. Stop. He was the first. What? All right. Who is?
I don't know why it's not standard practice to walk the first guy, regardless of who it is in extras.
Right. It's like, okay, if somebody's sitting behind Devers who could bunt and they bunt him, okay, then you walk the next dude and you hope for a double play. Chances are you're gonna lose. All right. Like it's tied in the fucking bottom of the 10th. Chances are you're gonna lose. Like it's not in your favor. But I damn sure don't want Rafael Devers to be the one to beat me. What when first base is open and there's a runner on second base, they're begging you to walk him. The situation calls for it. Just walk him.
They brought in a lefty, and Devers loves going the other way now. So it like you're not going to get him out with your lefty. I think we pitched like 5 1/3 total innings at the major league level. Like this isn't some wily veteran who knows how to get out. It's like they clearly told him to pitch him away, and because it's a guy who's throwing his 6th career inning, he left the 3rd one well out over the plate and it went off the wall.
Bring back the intentional walk, man. Especially when it's Rafael Devers. Bring back.
There you go. That's where you're going, pal.
Right. Like what irks me is he didn't kill the Yankees this week. Well, I mean he got off a bit, but the RBI single he had Friday night, it was a 3-1 count. The first base is open. Sound familiar? And I think there was one out. And they throw him a pitch off the plate. He hits it to the opposite field. And my guy Max Greenfield, we follow each other on Twitter. Like we go back and forth about the art of the intentional walk all the time. Because I'm always fucking complaining about they don't walk Rafael Devers. And then he says to me, he's like, Kev, it's a pitch off the plate. I don't give a fuck. It's Rafael Devers. I do not care. He is the best bad ball hitter on earth. I do not care. Bro, Rafael Devers' first big major league moment, he hit a pitch at his neck, 103 miles an hour, opposite field, out of the fucking park in Yankee Stadium. I don't care. You know what pitch he can't hit? The one you don't fucking throw. Put the 4 up. 4. See? Get my fucking hand. 4. Put it up. Walk him.
He's hitting 306, which I still care about. He's hitting 306 for a guy. What's his career? Yeah, 283. So he's hitting 306, 384 on base, 606 slug, 990 OPS, 166 OPS plus. Like just
he's incredible.
4 WAR, and I imagine his defense is still negative WAR. Let's see. Yeah, negative 0.5.
Like the funny thing about Devers is just his season is being overshadowed by the fact that there's 3 different alien seasons going on at once in the AL. Sure. It's like you got Judge, you got Witt, you got Henderson, and then you have Soto as well. And so, but Soto obviously the defense value is a little shaky there. But point remains, he's having an incredible year. Then you have Devers. Like those guys, the latter two, Soto and Devers, are being overshadowed a little bit by the fact that we have 3 potential 10 more seasons going on at once in AL, which is crazy.
Listen, I mean, if it gets to it, if the Red Sox make another surge and get back towards the top of the division, I'm going to be putting up Bobby Witt's home road splits like Yankee fans talk about Altuve. Like, there's no doubt in my mind That's what I'm going to start doing because those are Jordan and 88 level. Like they're
insane. Yeah, I mean, can you imagine like if your Don splits like that, what kind of stuff would be going on?
That's what I mean. Yeah, it'd be like, oh, this is just the best player alive now. That's all that means.
Yeah, but that just leaves the building when he leaves the home park. Like what happens here? Because it's extreme. It's not like he's still great on the road. He's not. Like not even remotely close, if I remember correctly. No, and then he's God in Kauffman Stadium. And Kauffman Stadium is not even a fucking hitter's park on top of everything else here. It's not.
No, he's got 23 doubles at home, 7 on the road, 8 triples at home, 9 on the road. Or excuse me, I'm reading stats wrong. 23 doubles at home, 8 triples at home, 7 doubles on the road, 2 triples on the road. The home runs are 10-9, so those are actually pretty even. Mm-hmm. But the OPS is 1174 at home to 798 on the road. Like that's drastic.
That's crazy.
And the games played are 58-51, so it's that part's pretty even. Like similar at bats in both, and it's hitting 405 at home. Like his batting average is 405 at home.
What is it away?
It's 289 away.
Okay, it's not terrible. Not
130
terrible. I mean, shit, I thought it was worse. I thought it was worse than that.
On base, 458 at home, 329 on the road. And the slugging is 716 to 469. Like that.
Are the Royals cheating? My column.
Listen, the Royals typically aren't very good. They have those back-to-back years in the mid-2010s where they made the World Series twice. Outside of that, the rest of my life,
they've been
Royals
have
not
they've been dog shit for so fucking. I can't remember what the stat I read was. It was like every time they've been like 15 games over 500 by like some random cutoff date, they've won the championship, and it was like July. And I'm just like, what do you mean? It's like it's like they've been over 500, the 10 games over 500 by that point 3 times ever, bro. That's insane.
That is insane. Yeah, I mean, it's just not. And we get them next week, so it's in Kansas City, so just don't pitch to him. There you go.
No, we're not allowed. They're not allowed to walk people somehow. They just made a rule that we're not aware of. Apparently, I'm so fucking tired of Rafael Devers. Stop fucking pitching to him when you don't have to. God damn, bro, stop.
No, it's fun. It's fun.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's really not. I don't like that. It's not. It's traumatic.
Anyway, I mean, he's probably not. Like this is kind of where I wanted to be a DH. Although Jordan's not like an easy guy to match up with either. Can we move like Jose Ramirez to second or some shit? Like, can he stop being a third baseman? It's enough. Enough is enough.
Let Jose stay where he's at, man. He's great.
He is. He's unbelievable. But that's where it's like, yeah, Devers is kind of number 6 because Jose Ramirez is alive.
Yes.
It's absurd. Devers has a higher WAR. I wouldn't have guessed that. OPS 100.
That's kind of surprising.
Yeah, because Jose's a good defender. Jose's OPS 130 points lower than Devers. So maybe I'm wrong.
Stop throwing to him.
Jose Ramirez washed, I'm hearing.
Yeah, we're gonna clip that. We're gonna let the people in Cleveland see it.
No, I don't.
All 27 of them. We'll let them see it.
I got no problem with Guardians fans. Done nothing to me.
Their social media account did, but their fans are fine.
Jose Ramirez since 2021 averages an 863 OPS, 29 home runs, 34 doubles, 24 stolen bases, and walks as much as he strikes out.
Insane player.
Unbelievable player.
Insane.
What a talent. Been on the Guardians his whole career. Tough scene. Tough scene. But we'll see everybody next time.
Yes, sir.